If you are the spouse or child of a disabled veteran, you may qualify for CHAMPVA. But how does CHAMPVA work with Medicare benefits? Hi, I'm Larry Goist, owner of LMS Insurance Group, where we help seniors navigate the Medicare maze. So in today's short video, I'm telling you guys how CHAMPVA works with Medicare benefits. And I'm gonna go over 4 real basic topics. So number 1, I'm gonna tell you who qualifies for CHAMPVA. Number 2, I'm gonna tell you how does this change when you are Medicare eligible. Number 3, I'm gonna tell you what your different plan options are if you have CHAMPVA in Medicare. And then lastly, I'm gonna tell you some pros and cons to each scenario. And that's all coming up next. Hey, before I dive in, don't forget to like our channel. Definitely subscribe if you find this information helpful. I really appreciate you doing that. Okay, so who qualifies for CHAMPVA? Well, to qualify for CHAMPVA, you have to be a spouse, a widower, or a child of a veteran that has a permanent service-connected disability. So there is a couple different scenarios to go through. So if your spouse or your parent had died when they were in active military duty, that's a qualification for CHAMPVA. Okay, secondly, if your spouse is alive and he or she is deemed to be totally and permanently disabled and it was due to a service-connected injury, that would be a qualification for CHAMPVA. Or if your spouse has passed away, but when they passed away, they were considered totally and permanently disabled because of a service-connected injury, that would be a qualification for CHAMPVA benefits as well. So if your spouse or parent passed away during their service, if they are currently totally and permanently disabled because of a service-connected injury, or if they passed away and when they passed, they were deemed to be totally and permanently disabled because of a service-connected injury. So those are your 3 main ways that you're going to qualify for CHAMPVA benefits. So a couple other important notes. If you qualify for TRICARE for life, then you automatically do not qualify for CHAMPVA. So if you're getting some kind of TRICARE benefit, then that would take away your eligibility for CHAMPVA. And for children are only eligible for CHAMPVA up until certain ages. So your child is eligible for CHAMPVA until he or she is either 18. Now, if they're 18 but they're in school, they keep CHAMPVA unless they get married. Okay, so if they're married, CHAMPVA goes away. Or if they turn age 23. So if they're still in school but they're 23, CHAMPVA benefits go away. But under all situations, when a child dependent, when they're 23, they lose eligibility for CHAMPVA. Okay, so what happens when you become Medicare eligible? Well, if you become Medicare eligible because of disability or because of age, you're turning 65, under either scenario, you have to pick up Medicare A and B if you still want to remain eligible for CHAMPVA. So if you are Medicare eligible and you decline Part B, you automatically become uneligible now for your CHAMPVA benefit. So whether you're turning 65 or whether you're getting on Medicare because of disability, you have to pick up Medicare A and B to still have your CHAMPVA health coverage. Now, if you have CHAMPVA with no other health insurance, CHAMPVA is basically like a 75-25 plan. You know, CHAMPVA is paying 75% of your costs, you're paying the other 25%. But when you get on Medicare, well, Medicare is 80-20 coverage, and you have CHAMPVA that's covering 75%. So when you have both, in essence, you are not really going to come out of pocket anymore for medical services, for co-pays, for co-insurances, and for deductibles. But when you are Medicare eligible, you can no longer go to VA medical centers. So prior to being Medicare eligible, you could use VA medical centers with CHAMPVA. But once you become Medicare eligible, you can no longer use those VA doctors and those VA facilities. You have to find care outside the VA. Okay, so when you have Medicare and CHAMPVA, what are your plan options? Well, in my opinion, there's only two logical plan options. So, number one is you could take original Medicare A and B, and you could have CHAMPVA as secondary. So you'd have the red, white, blue Medicare card that would pay primary, and then CHAMPVA would pay secondary. That's simple. Medicare Part A is free. Medicare Part B is $174.70 a month. So with you paying $174.70 a month, you're going to have Medicare A and B. You're going to have CHAMPVA in the background paying secondary. You're not going to have to come out of pocket for practically anything. Okay, so your second option is you could do an MA only plan on Medicare, and you could pair that with your CHAMPVA. So what this would be, you'd be picking up a Part C Medicare Advantage plan. But in particular, you want to get an MA only, one that does not have drug coverage. So that MA only plan would be now your primary payer, and CHAMPVA would be your secondary payer. Now, on the next section, I'm going to get into pros and cons of each of these options. Okay, so if you elect to do original Medicare A and B and CHAMPVA, what are the pros to that situation? Well, the pros would be you are going to have little to no out-of-pocket costs because you have Medicare and CHAMPVA both paying. Secondly, you're not going to be in a network. You could go to any doctor that accepts Medicare because Medicare is your primary payer. So you never have to worry about being in a network or whether doctors being covered or not. As long as they accept Medicare, you're able to go and use your benefits. I would say the third pro to this scenario is because original Medicare is your primary payer, you will not have to get prior authorizations for different services. So if it's a Medicare approved service and your doctor recommends it, you're just able to have it done. You never have to get a prior authorization. Okay, now what would be the drawbacks of this situation? So with original Medicare and CHAMPVA, the only real drawback is that you're not going to get the extra benefits that are offered on the MA plan. So by you electing to just choose original Medicare, you won't get any dental, vision, any food benefits, any over-the-counter items, all things like that you would have to come out of pocket for. And the second con is that since you have to have Medicare Part B, you're going to be paying that full Part B premium. So you'll have to pay $174.70 every month just to keep your CHAMPVA. Okay, so let's look at option 2. So if you choose to do an MA only plan with CHAMPVA, what are the pros? Well, the pros would be, again, you're going to have little to no out-of-pocket costs because your MA only plan is your primary payer, and then your CHAMPVA pays secondary. Okay? Now, the second positive of doing this is that you will get any extra benefits that's offered by your Medicare Advantage organization. So a lot of these plans offer dental benefits, glasses, transportation. Some offer monthly food cards. Some offer over-the-counter allowances. So if you opt for a Medicare Advantage, you could take advantage of all those extra benefits in the plan, okay? Now, the third positive to this situation is that there's a lot of Medicare Advantage plans, MA only, that will pay your Medicare premium for you. So remember, if you do original Medicare with CHAMPVA, you're going to pay $174.70 a month. But if you have an MA only plan in your area, you can take an MA only plan, make that your primary payer, and a lot of them will pay a portion of your Part B Medicare premium. So instead of paying $174.70 a month, you're enrolling in an MA only plan that pays a portion of that for you. Now, it's very important to note that you only want to look at MA only plans. You do not want to look at an MAPD. MAPD stands for Medicare Advantage with prescription drug coverage. You do not want to take an Advantage plan that has prescription drug coverage, because then you would lose access to what's called meds by mail. Meds by mail is the prescription drug benefit offered by CHAMPVA, and it's very good. So if you're considering an Advantage plan with CHAMPVA, make sure that it is an MA only, a Medicare Advantage only, and does not have the Part D drug coverage in it. Okay, now what would be the drawbacks of doing a Medicare Advantage only plan with CHAMPVA? Well, there's really two drawbacks I could think of. Number one is that, yes, you're going to be in that company's network. So some people hate the word network. Others understand that networks are just a part of insurance. So yes, if you do an MA only plan, you're going to be in a PPO or an HMO network, whereas if you just kept original Medicare, you would have had no network at all. And then the second, drawback or con is that because you will be in a Medicare Advantage plan, you will have to get prior authorizations for certain services, because original Medicare is no longer your primary payer. So that insurer can ask you to get prior authorizations for different tests and different services. So to conclude, anybody that's eligible for CHAMPVA, once you get on Medicare, whether you do original Medicare in CHAMPVA or whether you do an MA only in CHAMPVA, you're going to have little to no out-of-pocket costs. Now, you do have to pick up Part A and B to remain eligible for CHAMPVA, and Part B does come with a monthly premium. Now, if you're open to the idea of an MA only plan, there are MA only plans that will subsidize some of that premium for you, but in turn, you will be in their network and you will have to get prior authorizations for certain services. So guys, if you are TRICARE, CHAMPVA, VA benefits, any of the above, and you need help or you need information on navigating the plans in your area, please use the information on the screen below, as me or somebody in my office would love to give you free, unbiased help anytime. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm Larry Goist, LMS Insurance Group. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks.